Imagine finding out that your robot vacuum, the autonomous machine that literally knows the exact layout of your bedroom, your daily schedule, and even what your dog looks like, just got banned by the United States government.
I mean, it is wild to think about. It's a massive geopolitical tug of war, and it's happening right over who actually controls the smart home.
Exactly. So today we are doing a deep dive into this incredibly weird week. On one hand, you have European regulators forcefully prying open the software ecosystems on our phones.
Right, pushing for total openness.
Yeah. And then on the other side, the U.S. government is dropping the absolute hammer with a stunning outright ban on foreign-made smart hardware. Like, macro-level international trade policy is basically landing right on your coffee table.
It really is. We are witnessing two completely divergent philosophies colliding at the exact same time. Like, on one hand, you have this massive push for open ecosystems, interoperability, and local control.
Which we love.
Right. Which we love. But then on the other, you have severe regulatory clampdowns driven by national security and data privacy fears. And both of these forces are going to instantly, noticeably change how your house operates.
So let's start at the software layer, because the foundational control of how we interact with our homes, specifically voice commands, is getting a massive shakeup.
Yeah, and this foundational shift happened somewhat quietly, honestly, but the implications are staggering.
They really are. So on July 16th, 2026, the European Commission adopted a decision requiring Alphabet, so Google, to open up 11 specific Android features to third-party digital assistants.
And the critical aspect of this mandate is that Alphabet has to offer this access on equal terms with their own native Google Assistant.
Which is huge.
It's massive. For anyone building a smart home, the three most vital features in that list of 11 are always-on wake word detection, ambient sensor access, and screen automation.
Right.
Previously, Google just had a strict monopoly on those deep hardware-level integrations within the Android operating system.
Right. So to really grasp why this matters, we need to talk about how voice assistants actually function on a hardware level. I mean, if I want my phone to wake up from across the room while the screen is totally off, the microphone has to be listening constantly, right?
Basically, yes. Let's look at the mechanics of that.
Yeah.
Your phone has a highly efficient, low-power digital signal processor, or DSP.
Okay.
That chip runs a constant audio ring buffer. It's essentially recording and immediately deleting a few seconds of audio on a continuous loop, using almost zero battery power.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it is only looking for a specific acoustic pattern, the wake word. Until this EU mandate, Google kept that highly efficient ring buffer entirely walled off.
So nobody else could use it.
Exactly. If a third-party app wanted to listen for a wake word, it had to keep the main processor awake, which would just drain your battery in a matter of hours.
I see. So my phone's low-power chip has always been functioning like a bouncer at a club who only has one name on the VIP list, which is, "Hey, Google."
That's actually a great way to put it.
Yeah. And the EU just stepped in and told Alphabet that third-party developers get to add their own names to that bouncers list.
That's a highly accurate way to frame it. By granting broader access to that low-power DSP, a privacy-focused engine, like Home Assistant Voice, for example, can now function with the exact same hardware efficiency as Google Assistant.
That's incredible.
That means you can have a completely custom wake word. And more importantly, the audio processing can happen entirely on your local network.
Right, keeping it in-house.
Exactly. Your phone's native hardware listens for the trigger, and the subsequent voice command is processed locally by your smart home server, without a single byte of your voice data ever being routed through Alphabet's cloud infrastructure.
Which is such a win for privacy. And we actually know the details of this because the Open Home Foundation's Android developer for Home Assistant was actually invited by the European Commission to consult on this interoperability mandate.
Which is amazing.
It's a massive win for the open source community to have a seat at the regulatory table like that. But I do want to push back on the real-world impact here just a bit.
Okay, sure.
Is this just a victory for the hyper-technical power users running custom home servers? Or does this actually change the landscape for the average person? Like, why should you or I care?
No, the downstream effects will absolutely reach the average user.
Right.
When you break a hardware-level monopoly like this, you fundamentally change the competitive landscape.
So?
Well, if developers have the exact same hardware access as the tech giants, we're going to see a flood of innovation in specialized voice assistants.
Oh, interesting.
Right. You might see companies develop assistants tailored specifically for elderly care, maybe tuned to recognize softer voices or specific distress phrases.
That makes total sense.
And all while guaranteeing that sensitive medical context never leaves the local network. It just breaks the ecosystem lock-in that previously forced you to use a platform simply because that company manufactured the phone in your pocket.
That is so true. And actually, that software freedom the EU is mandating is kind of mirroring a shift we are seeing voluntarily happen on the hardware side this week.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, hardware manufacturers are actively dismantling their own closed ecosystems by killing off the proprietary smart hub.
The age of the proprietary wall-wart bridge seems to finally be closing, and it is entirely thanks to Matter.
Yes.
Especially when we look at battery-powered portable devices.
Yeah, let's look at SwitchBot as the prime example here. They just announced the SwitchBot Battery Circulator Fan 2 Pro.
Quite a name.
It is a mouthful, but the big headline is that it features native Matter over Wi-Fi.
Right.
You do not need a separate SwitchBot hub plugged into your router to connect this fan to your smart home.
And to understand why that matters, we kind of have to look at how smart fans used to work.
Right. The dark ages.
Literally.
Hmm.
In the past, a battery-powered device like this would rely on a low-energy Bluetooth connection to communicate with a proprietary hub somewhere inside your house.
And Bluetooth is just...
It has terrible range.
Yeah, it really does.
It struggles to penetrate exterior walls. So the moment you carry that fan out to your patio or into a backyard tent, it just dropped the Bluetooth connection. It instantly devolved into a dumb appliance.
Exactly. And when you are camping in the backyard, you don't want to open a hyper-specific manufacturer app just to turn on the breeze. You want it to stay integrated into your main dashboard.
Yeah, and Matter over Wi-Fi solves the portability problem through native IP networking.
Right.
Your fan is no longer relying on a fragile Bluetooth tether to a hub 3 rooms away. It's an independent, first-class citizen on your local network.
That is so freeing.
It is. Assuming you have a modern Wi-Fi mesh system that extends into your backyard, the fan can seamlessly roam from your living room access point to your outdoor access point without dropping a single packet of data.
Wow.
This is true interoperability, fundamentally improving the real-world usability of portable hardware.
I do have to wonder about the battery drain, though. I mean, Wi-Fi has traditionally been a notorious battery killer compared to Bluetooth.
It has, yeah.
But looking at the specs on this SwitchBot fan, it's pretty crazy. They've packed in a 3,600 milliamp hour battery. That's large enough to run the motor continuously for an entire weekend camping trip. They're claiming up to 70 hours on its lowest setting.
That's seriously impressive.
And the engineering on the motor is great, too. It operates at a volume that registers below a human whisper, so like 21 decibels, which means it won't wake a sleeping baby. It's $119.99, designed for medium rooms or balconies.
And going back to the battery efficiency, it really comes down to how modern Matter devices handle network sleep intervals.
Right, they aren't just blasting a signal 24/7.
Exactly. The Wi-Fi radio isn't blasting continuously. It negotiates highly optimized check-ins with your router. This is what allows manufacturers to put Wi-Fi chips in devices that previously required Bluetooth or Zigbee.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. And we are seeing this exact same architectural shift with smart lighting, too.
Oh, definitely.
Like Govi's Table Lamp Classic, it's currently on sale for $59, which is literally just $4 shy of its Prime Day all-time low.
Not a bad deal at all.
Not at all. And just like the fan, it is completely cordless and supports Matter right out of the box. It houses a 4,800 milliamp hour power cell, capable of pushing colored light for up to 30 hours straight, or like 5 hours if you're blasting bright white light.
Right.
You can just pick it up from your home office desk, carry it to the dining table for dinner, and it never loses connection to your automated routines.
Portability and lighting are a perfect match. I will say, though, listeners should note that the Govi lamp is not weather resistant.
Good point.
Yeah, so you cannot leave it on the patio if it's going to rain. But the indoor portability is fantastic.
And here is the architectural beauty of how these Matter devices are being deployed. There is still a place for the manufacturer's proprietary app, but it is strictly optional.
Yes.
Matter handles the foundational universal control, turning it on, adjusting brightness, picking a basic color. It works seamlessly in Apple Home or Home Assistant.
Right.
But if you open the Govi app, you get access to deep power user features. Like you can dial in the exact color temperature, choose from 72 scenes, sync the light to music, or use their AI text prompt engine where you type in a mood and it generates a custom lighting animation.
This is really the ideal balance. The underlying control protocol is universal and local, ensuring the device will always function in your home.
Right.
But then the proprietary app sits on top as an optional layer for complex customization rather than a mandatory toll booth just to turn the light on.
Exactly. And, if you're trying to figure out which devices actually fit your setup, smarthomecompared.com can help you compare smart home products by ecosystem, features, compatibility, and integrations before you buy. Because buying a device only to realize it requires a random discontinued bridge you don't own is just a frustrating way to spend a weekend.
It really is the worst. But the interoperability we're seeing with devices like the SwitchBot fan and the Govee lamp shows immense progress.
It does.
But it also provides a stark contrast to our next story. Moving a smart lamp to the patio is a fun example of hardware freedom.
Yeah, it's great.
Having a roaming autonomous camera mapping the interior of your house represents a completely different set of stakes.
Yeah, talk about a tone shift. This is the whiplash of the smart home industry. The Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, has officially banned all future robot vacuums manufactured outside the United States.
It's just a bombshell piece of news.
It really is. The FCC cited unacceptable risks to the national security of the United States or the safety and security of United States persons. I mean, outright banning a highly popular consumer electronics category based purely on its country of origin is a monumental regulatory action.
It is huge. And to understand the severity of the FCC's decision, we really have to look closely at what a modern high-end robot vacuum actually does.
Right, they aren't just dumb brushes anymore.
Far from it. 10 years ago, these were essentially blind bumper cars with suction tubes. They just bounce off walls randomly.
Oh man, I remember those.
Right. But today, they utilize technology called VSLAM, which stands for Visual Simultaneous Localization and Mapping.
Okay.
They project LiDAR lasers to measure distances and use high-definition RGB cameras to build a three-dimensional wireframe of your physical space with millimeter precision.
It's crazy. They don't just know the dimensions of a room. They carry microphones and cameras into the most intimate spaces of your home, including bedrooms.
Exactly.
And they use advanced local AI object recognition to interpret what those cameras are seeing. The vacuum knows the difference between a shoe, a power cord, and a dog toy. It is actively contextualizing your living space and learning your family's daily routines to know exactly when rooms are empty.
And because of that, the privacy risks driving this regulatory action are undeniably real. However, banning devices based strictly on geography entirely misses the actual vulnerability.
You think so?
Oh yeah, it treats a symptom while ignoring the disease.
Well, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
And for it.
Given the sheer volume of intimate data a roving camera collects, isn't a government ban justified? I mean, if a foreign entity could theoretically access a precise 3D floor plan and a live video feed of my living room, shouldn't regulators step in to stop that hardware from entering the country?
The concern is absolutely valid. It's the method of protection that's flawed.
How so?
The actual disease here is the core architectural failing of the modern smart home, which is cloud dependency. The vulnerability isn't just where the vacuum is assembled. The vulnerability is that these devices are fundamentally designed to send unencrypted local floor plans, daily schedules, and sometimes raw video feeds up to external cloud servers to be processed.
Okay, let me make sure I understand this. You're saying even if a vacuum is manufactured 100% inside the United States by a domestic company, if its software architecture relies on sending my floor plan to a poorly secured cloud server, my data is still completely exposed to breaches or surveillance.
Precisely. Banning a specific brand of hardware because its data practices are insecure is like banning a specific brand of car because the door locks are faulty, while completely ignoring the fact that every single car in the entire industry is designed to leave the keys in the ignition.
Oh, wow. That is a terrifying analogy.
Right. If regulators genuinely wanted to make the smart home safer, they would mandate local control standards. They would require that intimate spatial data and camera feeds never leave the local area network without explicit end-to-end encrypted user consent.
And the original reporting on this argues that the ban won't actually make us safer, right? It might just make things worse. By simply banning foreign competitors, they severely reduce market competition, which drives prices up for consumers without actually forcing domestic companies to build safer, local-first architectures.
Exactly. And this geographic ban raises a severe practical issue for the millions of people who already own these specific vacuums.
Yeah, what about the stuff already in our homes?
Right. What happens to the device life cycles? If a company's legally barred from selling new products in the U.S. market, their financial incentive to maintain the legacy infrastructure just evaporates.
So the firmware updates and security patches are going to dry up immediately.
Immediately. The apps will eventually disappear from the app stores. And if your vacuum relies on a cloud server to process its navigational maps and the manufacturer shuts that server down because they abandoned the US market,
then your high-end smart appliance instantly becomes a very expensive blind puck that just bumps into your furniture.
exactly. Cloud reliance is an existential threat to the longevity of your hardware. When geopolitical tensions dictate server maintenance, the consumer always loses.
Wow. It is just a stark reminder of why local control isn't just some abstract philosophy. It is a prerequisite for reliable hardware.
It really is.
Well, moving away from the anxiety of data harvesting and bricked appliances, I want to pivot to a category of technology designed purely to bring peace and order inside the home.
Oh, please, yes.
We are looking at a very different kind of household chaos, taming the family schedule.
Yes, Skylight is currently running a back-to-school sale on their shared smart calendars with up to $110 off. And it represents a fascinating case study in user experience versus ecosystem lock-in.
So let's talk about the hardware first. They have two main models. The 15-inch Calendar 2 is currently $279.99, which can stand on a table or mount to a wall, and it has these swappable magnetic frames, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
It's faster and brighter than their old models, too.
Right. But the real standout for household organization is the 27-inch Calendar Max. It's $509.99, wall mount only, and has the sharpest screen. It's designed specifically for large families to view the entire month's schedule at a glance from all the way across the kitchen.
And it syncs with everything, right?
Yeah, it syncs with Google, Outlook, Apple, Koozie, Yahoo, pretty much whatever you use.
See, the hardware approach is a brilliant exercise in ambient computing. By removing the web browser, the video apps, and the games, you eliminate the cognitive load and distractions of a general-purpose tablet like an iPad.
Yes, exactly.
It is a single-purpose information appliance. You walk past it, absorb the data you need, who has soccer practice, what is for dinner, and you keep walking.
For household sanity, that user interface is brilliant. Every family member gets a color-coded profile. You can create shared grocery lists, and it even integrates directly with grocery delivery services.
Which is very convenient.
Very. But to really unlock the power of the device, you have to look at Skylight's Plus plan, which is a $79 annual subscription.
There it is. And that Plus plan is required if you want to get their older 10-inch model for $149.99. But really, the subscription model relies heavily on artificial intelligence to solve a very specific pain point, which is data entry.
The AI features are incredibly clever, honestly. When you are managing a busy household, information just comes at you in unstructured chaos. A teacher sends an email with a PDF flyer for a school play. A coach texts a spreadsheet of practice times.
Just endless formats.
Right. But with the Plus plan, you simply forward those chaotic messages to a custom email address. Skylight uses an AI model to parse the unstructured text, extract the specific dates, times, and entities, and then it automatically populates them as perfectly formatted events on your kitchen screen.
I mean, it takes all the friction out of scheduling.
It really does.
It also adds meal planning tools, a system for chore rewards, and a digital picture frame mode. But we must evaluate the trade-off you are making to achieve this convenience.
Right, because it is the exact opposite of the open, local control ethos we discussed earlier.
Completely the opposite. You are purchasing a highly proprietary piece of hardware and then paying a recurring annual fee to unlock the AI convenience. You are entirely locked into Skylight's cloud infrastructure to manage and interpret your family's most critical operational data.
Yeah.
You are trusting their servers to securely handle the schedules of your children.
The tension here is palpable, because sometimes when you are juggling 3 kids, 2 jobs, and endless school emails, you just want to forward a messy PDF to a robot and have the schedule magically appear on a giant screen in the kitchen.
I totally get it.
Right. For many families, trading a degree of privacy and control for a massive reduction in mental friction is a trade-off they will gladly make.
And we all have different thresholds for what we are willing to compromise for convenience. If a proprietary cloud-dependent screen brings peace to a chaotic morning routine, it serves a highly valuable purpose.
Absolutely.
The key is just to make that purchase with your eyes open. You must understand that if the company changes its pricing structure, gets acquired, or decides to shut down its servers, that beautiful 27-inch screen loses its intelligence overnight.
Which brings us right back to the central theme of this week's deep dive. We are observing a massive industry-wide push and pull. On one side, European regulators and protocols like Matter are striving to put interoperability and open access within everyone's reach. They are actively dismantling the walled gardens and pushing for local control.
Right. But meanwhile, U.S. regulators are completely locking down specific hardware categories over national security fears, and consumer companies continue to build subscription-based, cloud-dependent walled gardens because they offer unparalleled convenience.
Navigating this landscape requires a really deep understanding of the architecture running inside your walls.
It certainly does.
So if you found this deep dive useful for navigating your own smart home journey, avoiding dead-end purchases, and understanding where this technology is heading, please take a second to rate the show and leave us a comment on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We really rely on your feedback to keep bringing you these weekly reports.
Yes, thank you to everyone who tunes in to make sense of this rapidly evolving ecosystem with us.
Before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder this week. We just watched the U.S. government ban an entire category of foreign-made robot vacuums because they possess cameras and construct precise flow plans of your home.
Right.
But if you stop and think about the architecture we discussed today, what happens when regulators realize your smartphone, your smart TV, and your smart thermostat are harvesting the exact same telemetry?
Something to think about. We will see you next week.